Inside the Triangle, the Decker Truckline Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Inside the Triangle. I'm your host, Darren Ladley, and today I have a couple of guests. Tyson Vance with Maintenance Support and Rick George with the Safety Department. We're going to start off with Rick because Rick's never been here before, so Rick is a first-timer with us. So, Rick, exactly what is your job title here?
I'm the Vice President of Safety. So I run the safety department.
Well, that's simple and easy. And you have been in the industry how long?
Since I was a teenager.
A teenager? So that's what, 10 years ago?
Thank you.
Okay. You're like me. You grew up in this business pretty much. So
I did. My dad was a truck driver. My first job in high school was washing trucks and changing oil and scooping out bull racks.
And you also drove for quite a while?
I drove for 5 years, yeah.
Okay. And the bulk of before you came here, I mean, we're not afraid to say you were in the safety department at a tanker company, which is quite a difference from what we do, right?
It was. I was in a fleet of tank trucks that hauled predominantly refined petroleum, crude oil, that type of thing. And
you were down in the Des Moines area, I believe, and you wanted to come back up to family up here, is that?
When I was with them 25 years. I was in Des Moines, Omaha, Roosevelt, Utah. And from Roosevelt, Utah, I moved back to Iowa.
Okay. You didn't like Utah?
It's a beautiful place. I would love to go there on vacation. I'm not sure I'd want to live there again.
Okay. All right. And so you've been with Decker now for how long?
Almost 3 years.
Almost 3 years. So Rick wanted to talk today about winter safety and some of the issues we're having. And so I'm just going to hand the floor over to Rick. Kind of give us a outlook of what you wanted to talk about today.
Well, I wanted to talk about some of the hazards that occur in the wintertime. You know, there are, from a personal perspective, there's slips, trips, and falls. You'd be surprised how injured someone can be just by falling down on an icy surface. And when the drivers get in and out of their trucks, there's a myriad of opportunities to slip and fall. So they need to use 3 points of contact when they get in and out. They need to choose good footwear. The worst thing you can wear is a slick, smooth, leather sole shoe.
So basically just say cowboy boots.
I was trying to avoid that. But,
okay.
But yeah. A lot of cowboy boots have slick soles. Yeah. But you can also buy cowboy boots that have a grip sole. So, you know, from the style of shoe, it doesn't matter. It's what's on the bottom. And there's also traction devices. I know I have some yak tracks that I wear when it's really slick. They just take a second to put on and they come off just as easy. And they provide a lot of traction, a lot of grip when you're on an icy surface. You want to be careful when you go into a facility, you know, like a truck stop or a C-store that's got a tile floor, because they're really slick on a tile floor.
Then it's just like being on ice.
Yes, it is.
Okay, what about getting in and out of the truck with those on? Is there anything they need to be aware of on that? Would that catch on the doorstep, do you think, or anything like that?
They could catch. I mean, one of the things that you need to be aware of when you get out of the truck, not only 3 points of contact, but what you're going to step down onto. We have a lot of times the guys will step down onto the ground and it's slicker than they thought, and their feet will go right out from under them. You want to look before you step, so to speak. Be conscious about what your surroundings are, what you're walking on. You know, even if it's icy, a big gust of wind can come along and knock you off balance and, you know, cause you to grab hold of your trailer or tractor or whatever's nearby and you know, hurt your arm, hurt your shoulder. There's lots of ways to get injured in a slip and fall.
Well, and a lot in the wintertime, even when they're working around the reefer units, the dollies, you know, if you got frozen dollies or frozen brakes or anything along that line, you could wrench your arms, your hands, anything like that. So you want to be extra careful around that stuff.
Absolutely.
Now, what about winter wear? I mean, we want our drivers to be prepared for the winter weather that's about to come. Make sure you have the proper gear.
Yep, they need to have proper gear, you know, and it's always good to, when you're in the truck, have maybe some water with you, some non-perishable snacks, you know, maybe some dried fruit, my favorite chocolate, you know, something like that to eat while you're, if you happen to get tied up in a snowstorm or something like that, you know, have an extra blanket. You want to be sure and have clothes to keep warm in the winter, you know, hat, boots, gloves, insulated coat, maybe some insulated coveralls or bibs, something like that.
What about driving safety? What do we really want to look for in the wintertime?
Well, black ice is always treacherous. I mean, they want to be conscious of, you know, are the vehicles around them throwing up some moisture off the road? as soon as that stops, that means the road's turned icy, and you want to be very, very careful.
Okay.
Black ice will get you every time.
Okay. What about the blizzard type conditions, snow on the roads? Anything we want to be cautious of on that? Is there any warnings you can see ahead of time on that?
Well, if they can't see down the road, if they can't see farther than the speed that they're traveling, they need to slow down, increase their following distance. If they don't feel safe, they really need to stop and wait out the weather. It won't stay that way forever. It may seem like it, but it won't.
Well, I've always believed truck drivers need to be like weathermen. You always have to look a day or two ahead of you to what you're going into, or if you're at home, all right, what's coming? Do I need to leave early? If I'm out on the road, how much do I want to push this so that I can stay ahead of this weather? Any issues you have with that?
Well, yeah, just as you said, they need to be aware of what they're heading into. One of the nice things about our new geotab units is they'll be giving weather alerts. They'll tell you what kind of weather you're heading into in the next couple hours. So I think that's a big benefit to the geotab units.
Any issues with cargo that you know of during the winter time that we see predominantly more, maybe in the winter, maybe frozen products, anything like that?
The perishable products, I mean, they need to have the reefer on so that stuff doesn't get too cold. Of course, the chilled, frozen, that's really not an issue in the cold weather.
Now, flatbed, though, that's a different worry. I unfortunately had a good friend of ours. He retired, but lost a few fingers because of frostbite. I was up in North Dakota. Any advice you can give us on being careful on the flatbed side? Because you're dealing with heavy tarps, ice, snow. They're iced up. They're slicker than heck. You're trying to pick them up. You're outside working. I mean, this is not an indoor job when it comes to flatbed.
No, that's right. And they need to have proper gear, as you said, to keep warm while they're working. They'll generate a little heat while they're working, but still, they need to have good gloves to wear. They need to be conscious of, if their fingers start to tingle, they need to find some place to warm up.
Anything else you'd like to add to the safety aspect?
Just prepare for the weather. Don't follow too close. Don't drive too fast.
Good advice. So the other one we have here is Tyson. And Tyson wants to talk to us a little bit about having your truck and trailers and everything prepared for winter. So Tyson, what did you want to talk about?
Well, there's a lot of things we can do out on the road. When a driver's picking up a trailer that's, dropped at a customer's location, making sure that the brakes are thawed and the tires roll. I had a guy that was here a week or so ago down in Ankeny. He picked up a trailer and got out on the highway, and somebody flagged him down that he had a couple tires that weren't turning. Come to find out, he had frozen brakes and ruined a couple tires. Just putting stuff on top of the tires to make sure, pull forward 5-6 feet, make sure them tires are rolling. Mark them with something. Use a piece of chalk, marker. I always told driver just put a bottle cap on each set of tires, roll forward 5-6 feet, and then you can find out which ones aren't moving. We recently went through and done some things about rubbing alcohol. We got a video out on that. I'm not sure where that is or when it's coming out, but rubbing alcohol is huge. It can help you out there. Frozen locks, frozen ice on the mirrors, frozen up front radar on the front bumper. Just it's cheap. And you can have it in a squirt bottle and use it to thaw your brakes, just about everything.
What about fuel treatments? What are we recommending for fuel treatment this time of the year?
So the fuel is treated at all of our terminals that have fuel. When you get out away from our terminals, you might not get treated fuel out on the road. So they do, in the safety lane here and other terminals, provide quart bottles of anti-gel. And I think they're giving out 4 or 6 bottles per driver. You got to think ahead about in the winter, what the weather's going to do. You can't treat your fuel in Missouri when you're coming into Iowa. You got to have it treated when you're leaving Texas and coming up this way to get it through the whole system, to de-wax everything. That, I can put it in today and I'll be good tomorrow. Probably not going to happen.
Okay. Frozen airlines, if we run into that too much, is that another use we can use with the rubbing alcohol, or do we use airline antifreezes?
It's under my direction or my staff members when a driver calls in on what we need to do with that. We can do some other things without using that product in there. Worst case scenario, just give us a call and we'll talk it over and see if we can remedy without it.
Okay. Any other suggestions you can give us for along that line of winter driving?
Back into, a reefer. If you're going to go haul a load that's heated or chilled, just make sure you start that reefer unit. When it's really, really cold, those don't return as much fuel as a truck does. So the reefer is going to need some anti-gel as well. A lot of times we'll have them switch them on a continuous run if it's going to be really cold, because you got to remember that fuel tank is hanging down underneath there, getting all that winter weather off the road, caking it up with snow, and it kind of insulates it, and it doesn't get very warm. So if we're putting anti-gel in the truck tanks, we need to start putting it in the reefer tanks as well.
And also ice and snow buildup on a truck. I really think that, when you're getting out and you're fueling, you're checking, knock some of that ice and snow off, because, I've seen the calls where we drop a chunk of ice and it breaks up and it hits somebody else, and then we were buying a windshield in a car or something like that. It's just not safe. I know out east they were doing, they have problem with the snow up on top of the trailers, and it was big hunks that were coming off. Now they got some special areas, I think, where you drive underneath and it just kind of peels all the snow off of the trailers. So you got to be aware of that stuff and help yourselves. And
in the past, we've run them through a truck wash to get that snow off the top, because try to find somebody with a ladder to go up there on a snowy roof and it's slick aluminum. I wouldn't do it.
And that adds weight to your truck too. So if you're close on weight, you could get an overweight ticket.
Exactly. And then, it also, I don't know if you still do it, but I used to, in the wintertime when I parked, and Rick is probably going to yell at me for this, but I very seldom ever set my tractor brakes. I would set the trailer brakes because it's just, I don't know, it was just a thing because the trailer brakes were easier to break free than the tractor brakes were. I don't know if that's something we recommend or not, but we can edit that if we need to. So, Rick?
When I was driving, I did the same thing.
All right. Just guys, you got to be safe out there. You got to know what's going on. You got to be aware of your situation. Like Tyson said, if you're coming out of Texas and it's 70 degrees in Texas, but it's going to be minus 10 up here, you got to be prepared. And what's a tow bill cost? I mean, if you got to be looking minimum of $600, $700, $800 for a tow bill.
Well, you got to remember some states are a split tow. So if I have to tow a truck and trailer in one of those areas, now you're paying for two tows. So on average, you're talking $1,200, $1,300 just to move that piece of equipment off the road to a dealer, wherever, to get it fuel gelled out or ungelled, and then put new filters on it and get it back up and running.
And now we run, I know the old days we used to run tank heaters, and you have to get out and turn them on. And then when Detroit's came out and those back in the 90s and 2000s, they turned enough heat, you didn't need tank heaters. Now, are we running tank heaters again?
I'm not sure on the trucks if we're running tank heaters. I know some of the trucks do, like the dedicated ones up on the Mars, they do. I'm not sure about any of the other new equipment coming in. I haven't checked them out or got with Malachi on those.
Okay, because I know the APU unit, doesn't that also, when the APU unit is running, is charging your battery, but it's also running a little bit of hot water through the engine to kind of keep it warm a little bit?
Yep, it'll maintain battery voltage and it maintains coolant temp. So when the coolant temp in the truck drops below a certain threshold, the APU will kick on and start running to heat that coolant back up in the system.
All right, awesome. Guys, we're coming into dangerous times. Wyoming, how many times do they shut down the interstates out there? You got to make sure when you're going there, I think you got to have fuel. Because if you get stuck on the side of the road and they shut the interstate down, the last thing you want to do is run out of fuel. So always be aware of that situation. So take care of yourselves, extra blankets, whatever you got to do. Make sure you're prepared. Any last words, guys?
Thanks, spring.
Think spring.
No winter weather.
Think 2021. Let's get 2020 over with. All right, guys. Thank you very much. And remember, drive safe and keep the shiny side up. All right. Thanks. All right, guys. Now, before we get into the drivers of the month and the scorecard bonus, I do have some news. We do have on board a DOT officer that is willing to come on and chat with us and answer some questions. So what I'd really like for you guys to do is, please, all my listeners, email it to me, call Katie, whoever it is, even your DM. It doesn't matter. They can relay the question to me. Give us some questions on what you would like a DOT officer to explain to you. Any rules, regulations, things you're not sure on. Let's give him some questions that would make him work. So turn those into us. You can do it online or you can just call us. All right. Thanks, guys. So first, let's talk about our October drivers of the month. Our winner for the Western Reefer was Mark, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing his name right, Cagle. The runner-up was Donald Prague. Our Midwest Flatbed winner was Alan Smith. Our Midwest Reefer winner was Aaron Sievertson. Runners-up were Todd Hawkins and Jerry Patterson. Our Southern Flatbed winner was Jeffrey Ayers. And runner-up was Brett McCrae. And our owner-operator lease purchase contractor of the month was Jimmy Mahan. So congratulations, guys. This is October, so we still have 2 more months yet before we get to the grand champion announcement and choosing. So good job, and keep up the good work, and let's get you in the running for that. The next thing I want to talk about is the company driver scorecard bonus. We paid out, I believe Monday, the bonuses will be paid out to the drivers. 57 perfect scores for the month. So, and it was brought to our attention by Dean Solchik that this is the most that we ever had receive perfect scores. So, hey, great catch, Dean. We never even thought of looking for that. So thank you for bringing that to our attention. But 57 perfect scores, that is awesome. So how it breaks down is we had 182 company drivers receive bonuses. The average bonus was $243 and some change. Total payout, $44,318.32. 39 owner-operators received a bonus. Their average was $282.20 for a total payout of $11,005.99. So great job, guys. Smart Drive. Now remember, to get the Smart Drive bonus, you have to have the cameras in your, well, of course, cameras in your truck, but you have to have the rear-facing camera turned on. If you do that and you're 20 points or less on your Smart Drive score, you earn a penny a mile for every mile you run. So last month, we had 183 company drivers get a bonus. Wow. That's when you have just as many company drivers that get the bonus as they do the scorecard, that's really, really good. But the average payout for that was $86.30 for a total of $15,792.56. We do have 6 owner-operators that do have the rear-facing event recorders in their truck, and their average was $96.03 for a total of $576.18. So overall, Decker and bonuses paid out $71,693.05 to you eligible drivers. So I just want to congratulate all of you. You work hard for this. If you have any questions, guys, make sure we put the email out on social media. We put it on a lot of different places that scorecards are out. Call your DMs. Call me. Let's go over your scorecard. Let's find out what's going on. It's just money you're leaving out there if you're not trying, okay? There are some issues sometimes, and that's why, like last month, what happened, or I guess it wasn't last month, it was this month. We actually had a fuel compliance issue that first popped up. We caught it right away. Some of the drivers caught it. Thank you. We got it fixed. Everything is correct now, so that's awesome. So if you have any questions, please get a hold of your DM or me, and let's get it worked out. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a great day. As always, thank you for listening to Inside the Triangle. Don't forget to subscribe to us on whatever platform you're listening on. That way you will know when the new episodes drop. And remember, submit your questions to podcast@deckermail.com, and you could be featured on one of our upcoming episodes. The best way to do this is to create a voice memo on your smartphone, record your question, and email it to podcast@deckermail.com. Once again, thank you for listening. Stay driven to be the best.